Let's share my screen. Please confirm my screen is visible or not. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. So for React routing part, is there any issues you have faced or anything? The fight, I think last session was on Thursday, right? So
Yes.
anybody faced any issue through React routing?
No.
Okay. So I have shared one hands-on, right? You people has gone through this part. Hello, Nuja.
Yes. Yes.
So have you done this
Um,
assignment? I have sent one assignment in the group.
I have completed only two parts, 2 points,
Okay.
routing and navigation and
Okay. So after completing the this session means I want to discuss with this component part. Okay. Whatever you have done, please that time you can share your screen. Okay.
okay.
Okay. Let's go with that new topic, that is React hooks. So um React hooks is called a, it's basically used in the function, right? In the class based component, I told earlier that in the class based component we have own life cycles, but in the functional component, same thing that has been replaced or that has been reutilized in the React hooks, like state. Okay. So in the class based component, the state was state. I have to add some value inside the state, and after that, getting update the value. That time we are using React use state. This method. Okay, the same thing, the same components, the same hooks in the class based component, that is called hook, life cycle hooks, and in the functional component, that is called hooks. So hooks are upgraded in the React, I think React version 16.8. From that, hooks has been introduced. So in the class-based component, whatever methods we are introducing or we are doing, the same thing we can use in the React hook. So we can see the next step, the React hooks. This type of hooks are available in the React hooks, like use state, use reference, use effect, context, and use reducer. These are five most useful hooks in the React. Whenever you do in the projects, that time these five hooks might be useful in your hands-on assignment or projects. So use state, the same thing, that state we are getting the value, we are initializing the value in the some inside the state object and update the state. Same thing in the use state, we are getting two values. So everything, every example I will show one by one. So let's go with that. These hooks. So hooks are the new feature introduced in the React 16.8 version, and it allows you to use state and other React features without writing a class. You no need to write any class over there to getting the same effects, same components inside the React hooks. So it's only used in the functional component, not the class based component. Okay. Yeah. And you can extract the stateful logic from a component, so it can be tested independently and reused. That is the another use case of the React hooks. So hooks allow you to reuse stateful logic without changing your component. That this uh, this is very useful. Means hooks allow you to reuse stateful logic without changing your component hierarchy. and this makes it easy to share hooks among many components or with the community. Means use reducer, use context. These hooks are just replaced with that redux hooks. Okay, same thing you can achieve in the hooks, in the functional component context. We can get some initial value over there. Use context, and this context has two things, right? Use consumer and provider. We can get the value from any hierarchy level. Means the nested, means I have two elements, two components, three component, nested components, nested component, any other component, we can send the value from my logic, from this consumer. The in the context, this is two things, consumer and another is your provider. Use state, also state and use set state. There's use state. Use rep also use for the getting the current reference of that object. And use effect, I already shown this thing, that update the value. That time this use effect, you are calling some API, you are calling them a RESTful API call. That time use effect hooks are using. And use reducer, just it's a another copy of redux hooks. So don't worry, I will see means every hooks, there's 5 hooks. Remember this every example I will show. So let's start with the use state hooks. Okay. Any confusion or anything? You can see the
Yes,
example. Yes.
in
Yeah.
the class component, we are using a component did mount. That's like,
No, component did
in
bound is the life cycle. Yes, component
yeah,
did bound. I have taken one state. Okay.
huh,
In the state one object, right? Inside the
yeah,
state, I have set some value, right? State, the profession UI developer. Okay. This
yeah,
is value. So you can see that same thing. The favor, this is the function. I have add two state, two value in the color and set color. Okay.
okay.
Means this is your main this value. Okay, here
Huh.
you can set your value,
It's
and
the
set
initial.
means update,
Okay.
initialize. The initialize the value. Okay, and you are seeing that use state, inside the use state I have initialized one value red. Okay,
Mhm.
and then this color is coming as an object over the parenthesis that templating.
Means
So
updated state will be.
by default red is in showing when the page is loading. So by default color red is showing, and whenever I click the button, okay, set color, so color might be changed, the blue, whatever color I can set. Okay,
Okay. Here
so this is
again,
the
update
example.
state will be updated
So
when they are.
state will be updated, but inside the function component. You
Okay.
know, means the class-based component is by default, the life cycle is there. Okay,
Yeah.
but in the functional component there is no life cycle. So how you can do the dynamic things over there, right? So
Yeah.
that's why hooks are introduced in the functional component. Okay.
Okay. Thank
This use state and use rep, also the use rep hooks allows you to parse it values between renders. Okay, it can be used to store a mutable value that does not cause a re-render when update. So when you re-render the page, means when the use effect, you might see that use effect always update the page. Okay, and if you use reuse rep hooks, that re-render might not be affected. Like I have taken same thing, input value, set input value. So by default there is no value. I have not set any value over there. And count use rep, I have had initial one value 0. So how many time the I have add the button, I have clicked the button, or I have do some interactivity in the input text, the value will be counted. So use rep 0, and you can see inside the use effect count dot current plus 1. This value I am getting. Okay, same thing. You can see this is the structure. Reference use rep. You have to by default you have to set one reference inside the use rep and add some initial value over there, and then current. Current means the current object, the reference value. Reference dot current means you take one variable reference and use ref, adding some value over there, initialize any value inside the use ref. And when you go reference.current, the current activity, the current object, the access you can get from the reference.current, access the reference value. It's very simple. Current is equal to reference dot value. You can get the reference dot current. You can get the new value, whatever the activity, whatever the objects are displayed over there, and the update state. You can get the value. Same thing is another way. There's use context. React context is way to manage state globally. Means I have some value. Okay, I am doing one use case like that user authentication or user login page. So I need some value, and I have 5 or 6 components, nested components: home one, home two, about us, about one, about two. This is the 5 or 3 nested elements over there. So it's not possible to every time I will pass the value to the your parent component and then parent component to child component. It's very hectic. You cannot manage your state. You cannot manage your value dynamically, or means you cannot update. You cannot manage, and the re-render will not be happened over there. So that's why the same React introduced React context. This is another hooks. You can create one context. It has 2 value. One is consumer, another is provider. So some provider has provide some value over there. One object that value provides, and some other component that will grab the value, consume the value. So this way the React context hooks is there. Okay, you can set that and use reducer. This one callback method, and it's similar to the use test hooks, and custom state logic you can create over there. And your initial, it's just because it's just a duplicate of Redux. Redux means that these two different component React, these two different framework, React and Redux. Redux is basically used for state management, your data management purpose. But same thing, we are going to the use reducer. So use reducer works same as well the Redux. Okay, is the logic clear? Means whatever I discussed. Now I'm going to hands on one by one. Okay. First, I have create use state, right? 1 minute. So same thing, import React, and then function. Now to value I have add color, use state, right? Some value we can add. I have to check the component, the function component is rendered or not. That is my first checkout. The app.js. It's coming from here. So you can see that color and set color. So this is this value is camel case. Means whatever value you have take one, the same thing you have to add after set. Okay. So the F color is color. See what happened? You can see the color yellow is coming, right? Hello, understood, right?
Yeah. Yellow is initial now.
Initial the value is coming, right?
Yeah.
Now I have to add one button to update the state, right?
Yeah.
What I will write? Set color blue. Button name is blue. I'll copy green, red, white. Value is updated, right?
Yeah.
Understood, right? How it's working? Very simple. This hook. You can state one effect and then you can work over there. The value is going. Next hooks that I want to see, uh, use ref hooks. Import React use ref. This is my hooks function. First step. Check. Your reference, this is your reference, and then take one hooks. Shell value at 0. You can see current value, right? I have add use reflux, and automatically whenever I press the dot, current value is coming. Console.log, if I will do first, initially the console I have to capture first render. Button. First, second. So every time you can see the render is happen, right? Whenever I click this current object, I can get the current value, right? Now I will create another example. Is there any problem? And you understood, right? Hello.
Please repeat once the code. Code repeat.
What do you means?
Okay. Those points.
This is your variable.
Yeah.
Any name you can take. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Any name you can take. So here you have to add the use ref. These hooks. Okay. The mutable object. So initial value I have add 0. Okay.
Okay.
And I have click one function normal on click. So count ref dot current, it gets the current value from the
Okay.
use ref hooks. Okay. I have used the use reference. Use ref basically used for reference purpose, reference or current object. Okay. So
Oh,
dot current means current value you can get. These things. 1 minute. Listen. So reference dot current. I have add the same thing over there. Reference is equal to use ref initial value. Okay. And
okay.
some handler I have used reference dot current. So update reference dot current is your new value. The same thing I have done over here. So then you button click. Whenever I click, so one by one you can check. Whenever I hit the button, so one by one value is increasing over there, right?
Yeah.
This is the thing. Another example of use rep is I want to show. So first create the component. Export default function. Is now take some value. Use ref. Let's check the stopwatch is working or not. First, to check. Hello, I think. Okay, okay. Yes. Hmm. You can see the value is increasing. Okay, with the help of use rate. And when I stop the clear inside the clear interval, I have removed the values. Current object set to 0. And start handler, it's adding the value and automatically it's increasing. So have you understood? Hello?
Yeah.
It's- So is there any confusion in React use ref or use state hooks? How it's working?
Yeah, useref is a predefined function of React.js, just like
No, no, predefined
statement.
not function hooks. Yes, yes. Use ref.
I mean, that is the hooks.
And these hooks is mutable. Okay, so if you initialize the value over there, every hook means use state, use ref, use context. So you have to pass on value over there. Okay, and here I'm taking two hooks, use state and use ref. Inside the use state, I have passed on value and count I have updated. But
Yes,
the value, the current state, the state value, how we can update without inside the function component, there is no method for updation, right? Because class-based component by default provides some life cycle, but in functional component, you cannot find any life cycle. So we have to import the hooks instead of life cycle because life cycles is not acceptable here. Hooks only acceptable in the function component. And React 16.8, the version has been upgraded. So I have checked this current version and then return this value. This two function I have created. One is start, one is stop. And stop handler in the current object in the use ref, you get the current if you press dot current. So dot current automatically is coming. You check current. So current value automatically you can get. So when I press the stop handler, whatever the value is here, 10, 10, 12, when I press, it becomes a 0 because I have set the value 0 over here. Okay. And re-rendering the use effect hooks, I have shown the earlier these hooks how in the use effect hooks I have set the API call, and here same way I have to call the clear interval. Means interval the value how it is coming, all value will be clear 0, and then value should be provided the next value. Okay.
okay.
And next hooks is your use context hooks. Uh, use effect hooks I want to see on another hooks. Use effect hooks. Same thing. Okay. So you can see that value is automatically changing. When the inside the use effect hooks, I have add the set timeout function. So it's re-render with the set timeout and the count the value is coming. So initially the 0 and then one by one the value is updated to the use effect hooks. Is there any confusion? Anything?
No, Perfect.
Okay. Next hook, that is use context. So again, I am discuss this use context hooks. 1 minute. This use context. This is the it helps to gather the entire value in manage your state globally. That means if I have 5 or 6 components, I have to no need to pass the value from its parent to child. So this type of problem we can easily resolve through the use context hooks. It only anywhere you can add the you can pass some values like some providers option over there and create some provider, and from the provider and consumer, two things, consumer and provider. Consumer means your target component where you have to set your value, and provider means provides the value, something you can pass any kind of value from the provider, and consumer means which component can accept the value. These two things is very useful. So every time any value you can pass from one component to other component, no need to pass its parent and parent to child. In long run you cannot manage everything at a time. You can pass from parent to child, but multiple components you cannot handle. So that's some React context. The use context hooks is might be very helpful. Let's we have to check. Now I am going to see that React use context how it's working. Okay. So you have to create the context. So you can pass spiritual. Now you have to create a folder. I have to set some value. Provider. So this here I have created another class provider and I have set some value over there. And see, this is the value. Okay. Value. So this is my class where I have to set some value inside my provider. Okay. So in the render function, the provider will create some value. This is central store. Okay, this class. This is your central store. Now I have next day I will create some components, 2 or 3 components, and I have to pass the value from the my provider and consume the value inside the custom components. Up to this, is there any problem? Is you are understood, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Create the value and then I will pass over there. Use context show. And I hope I've given one assignment. Is there any problem for that?
Yes,
Hello?
actually, I have
I'm
create.
my stop my share. Yes.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, yes.
Kaushik, I have refer one example. So book
Mhm.
management on Google,
Mhm.
but I have refer this code. But after submit, my value is not. Actually, I am facing some issue on code.
Okay.
So actually, value is not storage on local data, local storage.
Mhm.
And after 1 minute, like two books.
No, that I understood. This is the another.
Yes, yes. Actually,
eh,
I was facing some storage.
Okay,
Story.
this code base I have. I think that I've created these things. I will share with you. Okay, this thing.
Mhm. Okay, sir. Good.
But I'm asking that Thursday I've given some assignment. So anybody have tried or not anything? Is not anybody tried, right?
And
Rahul?
second example, like
Yes, yes, you have
navigation
also
menu.
doing. Hmm.
So,
Yes.
Kaushik, I'm facing some problem. After click, page is not rendered. Actually, after
What?
refresh, like I was click in home page.
Hmm.
Though so page is not rendered. After refresh, page is rendered. So what is problem? Actually, I did understood. So what is going on?
Okay, so I means after this call I will
Yes,
work
yes,
with you, okay?
yes,
Because this not
yes.
right
After
now I'm not doing. After this
after
call, I'll give some time and then I'll discuss with you. Okay, that's not
yes,
an issue.
no problem.
And Rahul, have you tried?
Kaushik, same thing are not tried, but those things are implemented, and I'm doing CRUD operation. In that, routing will be
No,
implemented.
no, no, no. I have shared one thing in the first day,
First day.
Thursday. I think Thursday or Friday in the group. I have shared some assignment.
Okay. React
If
Essential.
you are not doing, then you cannot understood, boss. I'm very much clear on that.
Mm, yeah. Parallelly, I'm not doing same thing, but CRUD operation doing that application. I was using this same things.
No, you cannot
Yeah,
understand
I need to
if
do that.
you are
Yeah.
if you are doing as your means whatever you think, but I have some means I have some understood. That's why I've given this kind of assignment, right? This kind of
Okay.
assignment, if you solve what you're doing, then your project was very easy. That I can told you. Okay. If I
Okay.
will tell you, if can you demo with me with that React DOM or API, you can do that? Please tell me. No, na.
Yeah.
Why? Because you only observing the video, not practice. Don't do this.
Yeah, I will
If you
do.
are observing video is very enjoyable, but when you're doing, you can get some pain. That I don't want. So please do as your end. Okay. If
Okay.
I'll give you just give one demo, React DOM and that API call. Have you do this? You have to go and show anything, right? So that's because you have to more practice. Without practice, there is no shortcut. You have to practice more and more. Otherwise, you cannot do. Today you can understand. Tomorrow you can get all the things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
ठीक
I
है.
will do.
So today the session will wrap up. I'll wrap up the session, and then tomorrow we can connect same time. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And Kishore, I'll discuss with you after I'll send you the. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, then bye.
Thank you.
Good.